Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about, so let's delve straight into the topics. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has confirmed that we will have a fully fit squad ahead of a potential Premier League restart, and supposedly, the league's supposed to be starting sometime next month. It still remains uncertain, whether the season is going to resume. But from my own perception, I think the season is going to resume. Obviously, there has been talks of the season, obviously, being played at neutral stadiums and stuff like that. There's also been talks of, games playing for 80 minutes and 5 substitutions. So the Premier League, have got different plans, to try and resume the season and that. But yeah, like I said, if the season resumes, Manchester United have got a fully fit squad. Because like I mentioned to you, Rashford's been a big miss for us, and so too has Paul Pogba. Obviously, before the football season got suspended, we had no Rashford and we had no Paul Pogba, because of course Marcus Rashford has been out with a back injury, since our 1-0 win against Wolves in the FA Cup third round replay, and he sustained his back injury, I think, on the 13th, or was it the 14th of January. But like I said, Rashford is one of our best players, and he was one of our best players earlier on in this season. Obviously, before he sustained this back injury and that. But it will be good to see him back. And like I said, up until this point, Rashford has spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United. He's been a United player since the age of 7. He was in our youth academy for several years, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. And since then, Rashford's become an integral part of the team, scoring twice on his Europa League debut against Midtjylland, also scoring twice on his Premier League debut against Arsenal, scoring in his first Manchester derby, scoring his League Cup and international debut, Rashford. But this is, of course, when he broke into the senior squad back in 2016. I think he's on like 19 goals so far in all competitions this season, and he's got over 60-odd senior goals since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016. Rashford can play in the number 9, and he can also play out wide. When he does come back, I think, Rashford will play on who play out wide, because he's actually more effective from that wide position is Marcus Rashford, because that's where most of his goals do come from. But there you go. And he is only the age of 22, so he's definitely the foreseeable future for Manchester United. Also too, Pogba. It'll be also good to see him back in action, because he's only played 8 times this season as Paul Pogba due to his injuries. The last time Paul Pogba played was our 4-1 win against Newcastle on Boxing Day, but that actually was a substitute appearance. And the last time he started from the start was back in September of last year. And don't forget, Paul Pogba was talking to the United podcast quite a few weeks ago now, and he was talking about, the issues that he's had with injuries and how infuriated, he has been. But Pogba has revealed his plans ahead of his return, and he aims to be the best player in the world and stuff like that. And like I said, I think Paul Pogba did have the surgery on his ankle back in January. I do believe, by the way, that Paul Pogba is staying at Manchester United. I'm not too sure about the foreseeable future, but I think he's definitely not going to be here next season, because obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has already confirmed that he wants Paul Pogba at Manchester United, because obviously Solskjaer's excited about the prospect of him playing alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield, because Pogba's not had the chance yet, to partner up with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. And I've got to say, I think they'd complement each other fantastically well. But Solskjaer's spoken to Paul Pogba quite a few times, and he's told him, he wants to make him a key part of the club's future and that. So there you go. But yeah, I think he's staying at Manchester United. But revert back to before the football season was suspended, and the football's been suspended now for the good, is it 8 weeks or something like that, or is it 9 weeks? But before it all got suspended, don't forget Paul Pogba come out and said that he was interested in staying at Man United, and he was interested in extending his contract at the football club. And then Solskjaer later on that particular week, reiterated what he said, and he says that Paul Pogba will remain at Manchester United next season. Now, obviously, Since he rejoined us from Juventus back in 2016, Paul Pogba's had a long-running transfer saga, and, there has been a lot of uncertainty over his future. Now, like I said, there's been a lot of clubs that have been in for Paul Pogba. Real Madrid were relentlessly linked with him last summer. Obviously, the main explanation why he's moved to Real Madrid, didn't materialise last summer was reflecting on the substantial amount we put on him, because we said wanted around £180 million. Real Madrid were not willing to meet that valuation, but he actually revealed last summer that he wanted to leave Manchester United, and he even publicly admitted as well that he wanted to leave the football club because he was seeking for a new challenge. But his preference was a move to Real Madrid last summer. And, last summer he was talking a hell of a lot about, Real Madrid, about his dreams of playing under Zinedine Zidane and stuff like that. And Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, has got a good relation with Real Madrid. Mini Raiola, I think, spoken at Real Madrid. He's also spoken to Juventus, Paul Pogba's former club. But earlier on this week, Marca, which is a Spanish newspaper, they confirmed now that Real Madrid anyway are no longer interested in Paul Pogba. Reflecting on his substantial wages. This is why, Real Madrid are no longer interested. And plus, they've got other midfielders on their agenda. That's Eduardo Camavinga and N'Golo Kante from Chelsea. Juventus are still in for Pogba, by the way. It did say, Juventus are willing to offer up to 3 of their players in a swap deal for Paul Pogba. Now, the names that have been mentioned recently is Adrien Rabiot. He's been mentioned. Also to Aaron Ramsey, Douglas Costa, Miralem Pjanic. So all them players have been mentioned. Of course, a while back now, there was also talks of De Ligt coming to Manchester United as part of a swap deal of Pogba going back to Juventus. And that. But there's still actually, some reports coming out, and it was stemming from the Daily Express saying that, we will agree to let Paul Pogba go to Juventus in a swap deal. It also confirmed as well that Ed Woodward has lowered his asking price from £150 million to just £100 million. I did say, didn't I, if we do sell Paul Pogba in the summer, or maybe in the next year or two, it's very imperative that we get more than what we paid for him, because we did pay £89 million for him. I said, we should get at least £100 million. There was reports coming out last week, I think it was, saying we could only get 60 or 70 million pounds for Paul Pogba due to the coronavirus pandemic. But if Paul Pogba leaves, I think he'll go back to Juventus because Real Madrid are no longer in for him. Don't forget, it confirmed the other week that PSG had expressed their interest in Pogba, and it did say they'd offered Julian Draxler and Angel Di Maria in a swap deal for Pogba. Don't forget, Di Maria is a former Man United player. He won't come back to Manchester United anyway, so I did say that swap deal wasn't going to materialise. If PSG were to get Paul Pogba, let's disregard any swap deal. They'd probably have to sell Mbappe or Neymar, to fund the move for Pogba, because obviously Neymar and Mbappe are the 2 most expensive players in the world. Obviously, Inter Milan have recently expressed their interest in Pogba. Maybe Antonio Conte is keen on reuniting with the player. Don't forget, Inter Milan have already recruited 3 of our players. So there you go and that. But like I said, Paul Pogba has been mainly inconsistent at Manchester United. I think we saw the best of Pogba in that 3-month period, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. Don't forget as well, Paul Pogba endured a very, very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era. We made a mistake getting rid of him when he was younger under Alex Ferguson, because we let him go on a free transfer. But the main explanation why we let Paul Pogba go is because his appearances were limited. He only got given a couple of first-team opportunities and that. So there you go. Obviously, Rio Ferdinand quite a few weeks ago was talking a lot about Paul Pogba. He actually advised Manchester United to sell him. He obviously hit back at Graham Souness and Roy Keane because they've been Paul Pogba's biggest critics. So I understand where Ferdinand was coming from, advised him to leave, to stop all the criticism of the player, because the vast majority of his performances at Man United have been totally comparison to his ones at Juventus and that. I've got to make that admission. But it will be good to see him back, and hopefully, he can perform well. Hopefully he can. Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes playing in the same team. Obviously, you'd have Bruno Fernandes in the number 10, and you'd obviously, have Paul Pogba in the number 6, or you'd have Paul Pogba in the number 8 and that. But obviously, we have got a few players in our agenda who could replace Paul Pogba if he does decide to leave the football club in the summer. He did say earlier on this year, by the way, that he told his teammates that he wanted to leave Manchester United. Paul Pogba has won 2 trophies at the club, and that was the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season at Manchester United, and he is only at the age of 27. He's only the age of 27, is Paul Pogba and that. But like I said to you, we've been very, very critical of his agent, Mini Raiola, reflecting on some of his comments since, the turn of the year and stuff like that. But, yeah. So, yeah, we'll probably, end up keeping Paul Pogba now, to be quite honest with you. But United fans have got different perceptions on him. Some United fans would keep him and some United fans, would get rid of him. So, yeah, so it'd be good to see Rashford and Paul Pogba back, when the season does resume and if it resumes. But I think it'll resume anyway. And obviously, they haven't only been injured, throughout the course of this season. Pogba and Rashford, have actually, had quite a lot of injuries this season. So let's just put that into the equation. Obviously, we had Bailly out injured for a long while. Bailly, I think, came back from injury in January. But Bailly is very, very injury prone. But that's my only element of concern about Eric Bailly. I think he's a very, very good centre-half, is Eric Bailly. Of course, Eric Bailly is now into his 4th season at Manchester United. Of course, we paid £30 million for him from Villarreal back in 2016. Jose Mourinho was the one that recommended him in. It was actually Jose Mourinho's first signing, and was Eric Bailly. But he has had a lot of injuries as a Manchester United player. Also, too, Delors, he's had a few injuries this season. I think he's only made 1 start in the Premier League this season due to the couple of injuries that he's had. Delors is a backup to Wan-Bissaka. Delors, I think, played a lot towards the back end of last season. He played in more of an advanced role. I think he actually played as a right winger, because Delors can play as a right winger, but he is predominantly a right back. Delors been at the club now, is it like nearly 2 years, something like that, because we did get him in the summer of 2018. We got him in Jose Mourinho's final transfer window. We paid £19 million for him from Porto. I think Delors under contract with us until 2023. So, yeah, he's had a few injuries. I think Lee Grant's a long-term absentee as well. I think, he's out injured. I think Jose Mourinho also recommended him in his final transfer window. Lee Grant seldom played. I think he's only played 1 or 2 games, is it, since his arrival from Stoke. Also, too, don't forget, Luke Shaw. He was injured earlier on in the season. He missed the first part of the season, did Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw, has sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. Luke Shaw's been a long servant here. Luke Shaw is now into his 6th season as a Manchester United player. Like I said, I think he scored 2 goals for the football club. Don't forget, he scored in the FA Cup game against Derby. We paid around £30 million for Luke Shaw from Southampton. But he also had injury problems, during his time at Southampton. But since he was out for 2 months early on the season, but since he came back, he did really, really well before the football season got suspended. And Luke Shaw does remain our first choice left back. Don't forget, Scott McTominay, he was also injured earlier on in the season. And, he was a very, very big miss. But I've got to make an admission. I think Scott McTominay's enjoyed an absolutely fantastic season for Manchester United. He really, really has stepped up to the plate. Anthony Martial, of course, don't forget, he sustained quite a few injuries, since the start of this season. So you can say that's had a bad effect on Anthony Martial. I think he was out with a hamstring injury. But before the football season got suspended, I thought Anthony Martial, was in a good vein of form. I think Martial, has he scored 16 or 17 goals in all competitions this season for the football club. Martial is now into his 5th season at Manchester United. We did pay, I think, was it around £36 million for him from Monaco back in 2015, potentially rising up to 57 or 58 million based on goals and achievements. But like I've said before, I think one of the best seasons Anthony Martial enjoyed was his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era, because we did recommend him in under Louis van Gaal. Martial does predominantly play out wide on the left, but this season he has been operating in that number 9 role, so he has been playing centrally. I think we'll actually, keep Anthony Martial centrally, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. And he is only at the age of 24, is Anthony Martial. Daniel James as well. I think he sustained an injury earlier on in the season. I've got to make an admission as well. I think he's been an absolute revelation since his arrival from Swansea last summer, Daniel James. I just think that we have overplayed him a little bit. So obviously, he became fatigued. Did Daniel James? I think he's played 30 odd games in all competitions this season for Man United. James can play on the left and he can also play on the right, but he seems to be more effective from that left hand side. I think also Tuan Wan-Bissaka was injured earlier on in the season. And that. So yeah, we have had a lot of injuries this season. So reflecting on that anyway, we've had to make, a lot of rotation in the squad. Don't forget, Solskjaer's been changing formation persistently as well this season. He's trying a few different elements, isn't there? You can see what Solskjaer's trying to do. I think he needs to work out his best formation because he doesn't know his best formation as yet, does Solskjaer, let's be honest. A lot throughout the course of this season, he has been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation. But like I've said before, from my own perception, I think we look more expansive with three at the back. I think we've gone with a 4-3-3 quite a few times. I think went a lot with a 4-3-3 in that 3-month period when Solskjaer was the interim manager. So there you go. So yeah. Now, I want to delve into some news on Victor Lindelof. So let's delve into that topic now. So reportedly, we have got persistent doubts over Victor Lindelof. Now, reflecting on this, we do want to recommend a new centre-half in because we've got persistent doubts over Victor Lindelof. And, obviously, if we are to recommend a new centre-half in the summer, then Victor Lindelof is going to face more of a competition. Now, Victor Lindelof is into his third season as a Manchester United player. Again, we recommended him in under the Jose Mourinho era, paid £30 million for him from Benfica. Like I said to you before, I thought he endured a very, very poor first season. He was inconsistent in his first season, didn't really settle in, but takes some players time to settle in. But I thought last season, a lot of aspects of his game improved. I think this season, a lot of aspects of his game have really, really improved. Victor Lindelof, he's not a world-class centre-half, but I still think he's very, very good. Probably too good to be a backup, to be fair, is Victor Lindelof. But obviously, he's been playing regular this season because he has been playing alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. And don't forget, Lindelof and Harry Maguire are our first choice centre-halves. And last September, I think Victor Lindelof, by the way, committed his long-term future with the club because he did sign a new long-term contract at Manchester United. Victor Lindelof's made around 73 appearances in the Premier League and that. So, yeah. So, yeah, we could actually, recommend a centre-half in. We have got a lot of centre-halves in the team. Like I said, you've got Lindelof and Maguire that are our first-choice centre-halves. Maguire, sorry. You've obviously, got Bailly and Tuan Zebe that are our backups. Tuan Zebe, I forgot to mention he was also another player, I think, that's had injuries as well. I thought it was good, to be fair, earlier on in the season. Also, too, Phil Jones is still here. I think Phil Jones is like our fifth choice centre-half, but, Phil Jones is one of the players that's expected to leave Manchester United in the summer, with how inconsistent he has been. Phil Jones has been here since the Alex Ferguson era. Phil Jones is now into his 9th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long-serving player. But we're looking at selling him in the summer. We can get maybe from £10 to £12 million for him. We made a mistake by giving Phil Jones a new long-term contract last season. Yes, we did in that. But yeah, I think, we'll offload him. We're also looking to offload Smalling and Rojo, because Smalling's out on loan at Roma. Rojo's out on loan at Estudiantes. I think we have revealed our asking price, by the way, for Chris Smalling. Reportedly, we've said we want around £17 million for him, to get rid of him on a permanent transfer. I think, to be fair, Chris Smalling's been a revelation at Roma. He joined Roma last summer on a 1-year loan. I think Roma are keen on getting him on a permanent transfer. Don't forget Paulo Finesca, who's the Roma manager. He came out a few weeks ago, and it was stemming from Sky Sports, and he said, Chris Smalling's been amazing for Roma. He's very humble, very professional, and Roma hope to get him on a permanent transfer, or they hope to keep him at least for another year. So I can't see Chris Smalling coming back to Manchester United. Smalling, by the way, did enjoy 9 years at the football club. I haven't read reports regarding Rojo recently, but it did mention that He was keen on getting his loan extended with Estudiantes, but we'll sell Rojo. We'll sell Rojo and we will sell Chris Smalling. We've also got Foster Mensah as well. Don't forget that can play as a centre half. I think he can play as a fullback and a holding midfielder. So he's another one of our backup centre halves. You can say is Foster Mensah. He's also had injuries as well. Don't forget. So there you go. So there's been a few centre halves on our agenda now. The recent centre half that's been on our agenda, I was reading reports yesterday, and that is Joe Rodden from Swansea. Joe Rodden. Now, it was stemming from the Daily Mirror. Well, that's where I read it. And it said, Manchester United are preparing a move for Joe Rodden from Swansea. And reportedly, he will cost us in the region of around £20 million, which is a cheap solution, to be fair. Now, Ryan Giggs, who's obviously a club legend, Ryan Giggs endured a total of 24 years at Manchester United, and no one made more appearances than Ryan Giggs for the football club. He's actually advised us to sign Joe Rodden from Swansea because, Ryan Giggs was the one that gave Joe Rodden his international debut for Wales, was it last year, if I can remember rightly. Don't forget, Ryan Giggs, played a big part in us, getting Daniel James from Swansea last summer for around £15 million. So that's how much, we did pay for him. It also mentions that Manchester City have expressed their interest in Joe Rodden. Now, Joe Rodden, I think, broke into Swansea's first team in 2018. And he's gone on, to make around 46 first team appearances. I think he's played, around 20 odd games this season for Swansea. I think Joe Rodden's got a contract with Swansea until 2022. So got, a couple of years remaining on his contract. Now, he has been at Swansea for several years. Up until this point, he's spent the entirety of his career with Swansea. He joined Swansea's Youth Academy in 2005, did Joe Rodden, at just the age of 8, by the way. And he was in their Youth Academy for several years. Might have been a good 9-10 years, or something like that. Anyway, he was in their Youth Academy. I think he signed his first professional contract in July, 2015. Joe Rodden, by the way, also had a loan spell with Cheltenham, and he is only at the age of 22. So he is available for around £20 million. So do you think Joe Rodden would go well alongside the likes of Maguire and, Lindelof in our back line? So yeah, I think we inquired about his availability before. But yeah, City are also in for him because City are also in search for the centre half because, obviously, they've got John Stones, who's been very inconsistent for them. That's from my own perception. Obviously, Laporte's a very, very good centre-half, but he's been injured throughout the course of this season. They've also got Otamendi and Fernandinho. Vincent Kompany left them, was it? Was it last summer, if I can remember rightly? Or it might have been the summer before. I can't remember, but he did leave, obviously, Manchester City. So, looking for the replacement for him out there at Manchester City. So yeah, that is the news on Joe Rodden. Another centre-half that's been on our agenda is Daya Upamecano from Leipzig. Don't forget the Leipzig director came out not too long ago and actually said, that if Daya Upamecano does not sign a new contract with Leipzig, he'll leave. He's got around a 50-odd million release clause in his contract. His contract expires next year. And reportedly it said that they'd lowered their asking price for Daya Upamecano, and reportedly he's available for around £30-odd million. Kalidou Koulibaly, don't forget, we've been in for him. We was relentless linked to him last summer, but we won't be getting Kalidou Koulibaly anyway. So yeah, there has been, quite a lot of centre-halves on our agenda. But I did say before, didn't I, am sceptical that Manchester United will sign a centre-half in the summer transfer market and that. Because, there you go. Anyway, so that's the latest on that. And as you all know, I give you the news a couple of days ago now. Solskjaer has said, we will enter a much changed transfer market. So what he's saying is, the transfer market in the summer will be completely different. Obviously, due to the financial issues with the coronavirus pandemic. But despite what Solskjaer said, he still wants to recommend an attacker in. He still wants to recommend Jadon Sancho into the football club. He still wants to recommend, Jack Grealish into the football club because Jadon Sancho and Jack Grealish are our two priority targets in that. And them two, would probably cost us around probably £170 million or something like that. That's how much Jack Grealish and Jadon Sancho would cost us. But yeah, and obviously, Solskjaer's also said that, he will not force any players to return, if it's not safe to do so. So that's something else, he did come out with. So yeah, so Solskjaer expects a different transfer window. Solskjaer did say, he wants to make around 4 signings in the summer transfer market, because he believes we need around 4 signings to become title contenders next season. I don't think we'll make 4 signings. I think we'll make some investment. I think we could sign 1 or maybe 2 players, but I just don't think we will sign 4. And don't forget, Solskjaer still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young British players to Manchester United like he did do last summer. Obviously, Ed Woodward, like I said, has been talking a lot in recent weeks, and, even he insists, we will not do business as usual in the summer transfer market due to the coronavirus pandemic and that. And, he's actually, backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because he said on numerous occasions this season he's willing to back Solskjaer, and, he's assured that his job's safe quite a few times as well, even though we have enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season for 30 years. But Ed Woodward, he's willing to stick by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because maybe Ed Woodward believes that he is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. Don't forget, Woodward has made a transfer promise to Solskjaer, and, he says we will remain highly competitive in the transfer market and that. But before this statement came out, Solskjaer came out, saying, we will exploit the summer transfer market and that. But yeah, I've got to trust Solskjaer, I think he's actually reliable, to spend in, transfer windows, because he has proven it so far, because Solskjaer has enjoyed 3 transfer windows. Okay, he didn't recommend anyone in his first transfer window, but in the 2 previous windows, he has recommended 5 players into the football club, and he has spent £220 million. And I've got to credit him, for the players, that he has recommended in so far, because they have been very, very impressive. And Solskjaer's been here now almost 17 months, so he has been at the football club over the year. But like I said, Solskjaer does deserve at least a couple of more transfer windows, because he is still in the process of rebuilding. I was hearing recently that Solskjaer's going to be given around £270 million to spend in the summer. This is what I heard anyway. But there you go. But Solskjaer's already identified the areas in the squad where he does want to strengthen up, and that, as you all currently know. And, Solskjaer, has got rid of a lot of the deadwood, since he got recommended in. Like I said, we've let some players go on permanent transfers, and we've let some go out on loan. Young left permanently. Valencia left permanently last summer after he enjoyed 10 years at the club. Darmian left permanently last summer for Parma. Herrera left last summer after he enjoyed 5 years at the football club. We let him go on a free transfer. Fellaini left the football club back in January 2019. He was the first player to leave Manchester United under the Solskjaer era. Of course, Lukaku left last summer. Like I said, I think Man United did make a mistake by getting rid of Romelu Lukaku. Lukaku, of course, enjoyed 2 years at the club. Of course, as well, we'll let Alexis Sanchez go out on loan to Inter Milan and that. So hopefully, as well, we can get rid of Sanchez on a permanent transfer, or at least loan him back out. So yeah, and Solskjaer's planning to get rid of around 5 or 6 players in the summer transfer market. So he's going to get rid of more deadwood at the football club. But before the football season got suspended, we was in a good vein of form, because we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. Like I've said to you, Solskjaer's promoted the youth very, very well, and we've got a lot of good young players that have come through in that. Mason Greenwood's enjoyed a very, very good season. I think Brandon Williams has done very, very well. Diego Dalot don't have a perception because he's seldom played this season. Garner hasn't really had enough opportunities. Chong, he should get more opportunities next season as well. Angel Gomez, there's still a lot of uncertainty over Angel Gomez's future, because like he updated you last week, I think it was, we've offered him a new contract worth around £30,000 a week with additional bonuses included. Whether he accepts this or not, I do not know. Angel Gomez's contract does expire very, very soon. So if we don't get him a new contract, we're going to lose him on a free transfer. And he says that Chelsea have been in for Angel Gomez. So we have got a lot of good young players in the squad. And I think Solskjaer's approach to the big games this season have also been very, very impressive, because we've registered like 17 points against the big 6 sides this season. Obviously, my video yesterday night that I did, I give you the news obviously on Lautaro Martinez. He's reportedly now on our agenda. Lautaro Martinez does have around a €111 million release clause in his Inter Milan contract. Sport, which is a Spanish newspaper, they said yesterday that Man United and PSG had offered a multi-million-pound contract for Lautaro Martinez, and that Inter Milan have got no intentions of selling the player. Obviously, this has been his second season in Italy with Inter Milan. Of course, Inter Milan paid around just over €22 million for him from Racing Club back in 2018. And he has got a contract with Milan until 2023 as Lautaro Martinez, but is a fantastic striker. They let Icardi go out on loan Milan, they let Perisic go out on loan. So they're not obviously willing to let Lautaro Martinez go either. So there you go. Barcelona have also been relentlessly linked with him. Obviously giving you the news on Rabiot yesterday. He's available for around £26 million, and it mentioned that Rabiot is open to leaving Juventus, and this has only been his first season in cheering with Juventus, Adrian Rabiot's. He has got a contract with them till 2023, by the way. I thought it was 2024, but it's 2023. Juventus got him on a free transfer last summer from PSG. He spent the vast majority of his career with PSG, by the way. Did you know Adrian Rabiot? But like I said, Juventus have got quite a few players in on free transfer got quite a few players in on a free in recent transfer windows, yeah. I also give you the news on David De Gea yesterday as well. Duncan Castles came out and said that Man United are unhappy with his performances, and we made a mistake by giving him that new long-term contract and that. So that's what I give you an update on yesterday. But like I said, give Solskjaer time. He is our fourth permanent manager since the Ferguson era. We've sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era, and that was Moyes, Van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. We have been playing catch-up for the last 6 or 7 years. We spent close to the £1 billion range on players. We've recruited over 30-odd players since the Ferguson era. Obviously, a lot of players have left, though, over the years. A lot of the players have left who Van Gaal recommended in. A lot of the players have left who we had under Ferguson. It was Van Gaal who got rid of a lot of the players that we had under Ferguson and that. We got rid of a few players that we had under Mourinho, but there's still a lot of players here, from the Jose Mourinho era and that. So there you go. But yeah, I'm willing to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I want him to become a success at Manchester United. But I think we can win the league maybe within the next 2 to 3 years. Because we haven't won it since 2013. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.